Okay, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making a mask out of clay. I'm going to cut a small piece of clay here. I'm going to use the heel of my hand to press the clay flat. Okay, and then I'm going to flip the clay over. Notice I'm working on a piece of paper. That prevents it from getting stuck to the table. Let me just get this stuff up. It's going to not get stuck to the table because it's on the paper. I'm going to flip the clay over and keep flattening it. Okay. Now I'm going to take the rolling pin. I'm going to start in the middle and push away from me. I'm going to turn the paper, start in the middle and push away from me again. Turn the paper and push away from me again. Turn the paper and push away from me again. Okay. Now I'm going to take this template with the eyes on it, and I'm going to just put it right here. Now, this template I actually traced from a Mardi Gras mask. Okay, so it's the minimum size that your eyes could be and the right distance apart that your eyes are going to be on a mask. So I'm going to trace this with the potter's needle, and then I'm going to take out the clay from here. Notice I cut all the way through, but now I can change the shape of the eyes. I don't need to keep it this shape. This is the minimum shape. So I'm going to change the shape of the eyes. However, I need to be careful not to go too close to the edge. If you go too close to the edge, it could snap. So I'm going to use my potter's needle. I'm drawing the design that I want, and I'm going to cut it out. If you have trouble pulling anything out, you can always just slide your hand underneath and flip it to get the extra clay out. Okay, and sometimes it looks neater on the back as well. So that's what I just did. All right, now the next step is I need to cut out the outside shape of the mask. At this point I want you to be creative, but I need you to keep careful watch on this area where it's very close to the edge. Okay, so I'm going to cut out a mask. Any mask I want, any shape I want. In this case, I'm going to try and make a symmetrically balanced mask. I'm going to try and make it the same on both sides. Now, I'm going to take this extra clay, and now I can have a little bit of fun. I've decided I'm going to add something to my mask. So at this point, I'm going to write my name on it, okay? My first name, my last name, and my team number, okay? And then once you've written your team number on it, flip it over. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to crumple it in on itself so the edges are in the middle. Now remember, my last name, first name, and team number are on the back. They're not part of the decorations of the mask. So I'm going to put it on here so it's slightly 3D. And at this point, I want to add something to the mask. Whatever you add, it cannot be too big. You do not want it to be so big that it weighs down the clay and cracks it. So I've decided that I'm going to make some horns. I'm making this a little bit pointy at the end and flat at the bottom. Okay, remember, I could add eyebrows, horns, a nose, anything I want, a beak. In this case, I'm adding horns. So I want the horns to be symmetrically balanced, so I'm going to make 2 of them. Make sure they're flat at the bottom. See, I'm using the flatness of the table to help create a flat surface that's going to attach to the mask. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to roll it into a cone shape. And notice how I'm sort of neatening it up. And I'm putting them against each other to make sure they're even with each other. And now I'm going to take this one and put it here, and this one and put it here. However, it's not going to stick. What will happen is the water inside the clay is the only thing holding this horn to this mask. So I need to find a way to lock the horn to the mask. And that's what I'm going to use this stuff for. This is slip. Okay, slip is just clay mixed with water. Now I'm going to use actually a small fork. You could use a regular sized fork or you could use your potter's needle. I find it's easiest to use this small little cocktail fork. I'm going to take a potter's needle and I'm going to trace around the outside edge of the bottom of the horn on both sides. I'm going to trace it And now I'm going to pull this apart, and I'm going to scratch this and scratch this, but first I'm going to scoop some slip onto my fork. So I'm going to scratch this 1, 2, 3, 4 times in this direction and 1, 2, 3, 4 times in this direction. So now instead of a nice smooth surface, I've got a jagged surface. And I'm going to take this fork and I'm going to do the same thing where I traced. Okay, scratch here, scratch here, scratch here, scratch here. Okay, and the same thing here. So now this is going to lock onto this, and this is going to lock onto that. Now I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to get them wet, and I'm going to smooth the horn into the mask here, and smooth the horn into the mask here. Okay, so now, when this dries, they will stay locked together. If I had not scratched and used slip on both halves and locked them together, when this dried, this would pop off and fall apart. Now, if that happens and you have something that falls off of your mask, I'm not going to put it in the kiln to fire it. I'm not going to put it in the oven to fire it because I don't want little bits falling off your mask after we're done. All right, and so that's how you would, you see how it's sticking to the table a little bit? Okay, so that's how you would make your own mask.